What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with the Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. What players should you be looking for going into the NBA playoffs that you think are going to make a little money on? I don't know, but I'll give you my opinion. Now, this is based on my previous experience. This is what has worked for me. So, I am not guaranteeing, well, Tyler, I did it. Don't do it. I'm just giving you based on what has worked for me in the past. I'm going to tell you, okay? We've got to go back to the future. Okay, Marty? So this is where I've seen the most success, and I'm just going to give you one. This is the one area I've had the most success. Silver PSA 10s of the second through sixth best player on a team that is competing and or gets attention, okay? So let me give you a specific example. This is a time when I made $700 off Jordan Poole, okay? You know, if you've ever seen any of my content for like 2 seconds, you know I'm a big Jordan Poole fan, obviously. He's the GOAT, okay? Everybody knows it. He was a rookie, and they were tanking. That's when they ended up getting Wiseman in the draft. And then in his second year, I was watching, paying attention. I'd been collecting since he was a rookie. But he was doing really well. And it was like him and Clay. It wasn't just Clay was number 2 and Poole was number 3 for scoring. Like, he was doing really well that whole season. And then Steph got hurt the last like 20 or so games. And Poole was cooking the end of the season. Okay. And then Curry was coming back like right before the playoffs. Now, and this is by the way, this is the 2022 year, the year they won the championship. So it was his second year in the league. And whenever I had bought a Prism Silver of his rookie card, and I got it for like, I don't want to say like $50 or so. I bought it in like a lot. I could assume it was around the $50 range, and got it graded with PSA for like, you know, I think it was a special, so like $16. So I had like $66, $67 in that card. And whenever they got in the playoffs, remember, he started those 2022 playoffs and Steph came off the bench, and there was like a big deal about it. So one, it has the attention. That team already has attention because of Steph. So you're looking at players like LeBron, Steph, maybe Jokic. I don't think he definitely doesn't have the star power of Steph and LeBron, but he's been an MVP. He's won a championship, so that's a team to look at. But it's different with them because they've done it before. Steph had a lot of guys on the team that hadn't been through the KD championships. It was like you had Draymond, you had Clay, and then like Looney was back there in the background. And so think of teams, like I'm trying to think of one besides that. Like you want to say the Thunder, you got the Thunder, you've got the Cavs, you've got, who else is up there? Obviously the Celtics. Celtics just ran through it last year, so I don't know if you're going to see a huge bump there because it's already happened. It's got to be a team that you haven't seen have that kind of playoff success. Maybe the Magic, if you still believe in what they've got. The Warriors, Jimmy Butler might be an option, even though he's been around, been through this. He's got more attention now with Steph than he did when he was leading the Miami team, in my opinion, just because Steph has that gravitational pull. And so find a few of those teams and then find that player that is doing well, like a middle, like they're not like the number 1 or number 2 option, but they're still like coming in for a couple games and they're having success, because when you get to the playoffs, everything is escalated, and that includes the attention. You're cutting out a bunch of storylines and you're focusing on those teams. And so if a player comes in and can give 2 or 3 really great games or make a couple big plays to push a team over, that player starts getting attention, and a lot of people get scared that they're going to miss out now before that player ascends to becoming the, 2 or maybe even, 1.5 option for some of these teams. And so like, if you're looking at the Thunder, you're looking at maybe like, J-Dub. J-Dub is the non-Arkansas one, right? J. Will's the tall Arkansas one. I always get it confused. He's the one that has the Adidas shoes, the Pinky and the Brain fan. I know a lot of stuff about him, just can't remember his nickname. But some people call him the good Jalen Williams. They're both very good, so that's rude. And the non-Arkansas Jalen Williams. So on the Thunder, last playoffs, he just wasn't as consistent, but if he can pull off consistency, that could be huge. Chet already had a big market coming in, but he's kind of cooled off a little bit. You can get his silvers pretty cheap. I think I bought a silver of his. I still got it. I got it for like $30 or $40, and I'm just holding it because once he has 2 or 3 good games in the playoffs, maybe he becomes the number 2 scoring option, or maybe if they're shutting down Shea, then he would ascend and that card would go up in value. Because here's the thing, a lot of most teams do in the playoffs, what most teams do is they take on one of two strategies when they're playing these teams. They see the guy that's like the guy. This is the guy we want with the ball in his hand, and he's going to get our points. The Steph Currys, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders. They're going to get their points. The LeBron James, if you will. Those are the guys. And so what most teams will do is they will put their best defender on that guy, fight through screens, switch. They will overcompensate trying to keep that guy from scoring. And then they'll put their second best on, obviously, the second best. So what happens with these teams, if their top guy's getting, like man-to-man in their face or doubled up every time he catches the ball, he has to dish it off to someone else. And if he can't get it to the second guy because he's being covered by the second best player, that third and fourth best option are going to have to hit some shots. We saw this with Caleb Martin. Remember when he took off when he was with the Heat? It's because they were covering Jimmy. They were covering Tyler Hero. They had to, or I think Tyler Hero might have been out, but they had to go Bam. They're covering Bam. So your third and fourth options have to be the guys that hit shots. Remember Grant Williams' market? Whenever he was on the Celtics and he hit like 40 corner threes in one game and helped them get, I don't know if they didn't get the championship that year, but they accelerated the next round. I think it was like a game 7, and he had the Grant Williams game of his life. His cards then were selling way higher than they are now. Those third and fourth options are going to have to be the ones in the playoffs that are elevating, and therefore a lot of, I want to say casuals, but a lot of people don't know are like, oh, they're going to be the new guy. Well, no, they're not. It's the playoffs, and they have to kick it out to that guy because the best players are like all over the number 1 and number 2 guys. And so they're going to have some big games pop off. And so if of those cards, what I have found gives me personally the greatest margin are PSA 10s of that, because it's the most, I don't want to say basic, but it's the most general thing that a lot of guys that are into flipping and just like making a quick dollar, that's what those guys are attracted to. They want the 10 premium, and they want it to be a PSA because that's the more graded slab, if you will. And so I'll try to snag up some PSA 10s of those guys, or I'll have raw silvers. I want those Prism silvers, rookies of those players, on hand so that I can throw it on bids. When I threw that Jordan Poole Prism silver PSA 10 on bids, it's a $50, $67 into that card total. It sold for over $750 on bids. I put on like a 3-day auction, and I'm selling like 3 or 4 other randos. Like those things you can get for now like $50 to $60 already PSA 10s. And so I say that, I think they're up to 80 now, but that's the point. Like you're going to see a greater margin because that's what people are searching for. It is a common, don't get me wrong, because you're like, oh, it's a common, Tyler. It's not common, so it's not a base card. It is a more common variation, parallel, whatever. I still don't know the difference. It's a more common special card. Oh my gosh, did you hear that? It was thunder. We have bad thunderstorms in the south right now. So that's where I go in, and I hold those until the playoffs. Now, we're getting close to playoffs, like a week or 2 away, so you don't have a lot of time. And again, don't do it because I said. Go do your research. Do your own research. Go in and look at them. Look at some trends. Go to Card Ladder and look at the trends of players that you've heard talked about a lot in the NBA playoffs that were the third or fourth options. So that's my tip. That's where I've seen success. That's what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do it. Don't do it if you don't want to. Actually, don't do it, because then that means I can make more money because I won't be competing against you. So go in and find the third or fourth option. That's what I'm going to do. So there you go. That's all I got for today. I'd love to know your thoughts. Who do you collect if you're trying to make a little money in the NBA playoffs? What do you do? What are your tips? Throw it in the comments if you're on YouTube or Spotify. Throw it in the comments if you're on Apple Podcasts. What's up? How are you doing? You look great today. That's what I got. That's what you got. Rate me 5 stars on Apple, and then put in there what you do to make money in the NBA playoffs. That'd be funny and confusing. So thank you guys so much for listening. This is Sports Cards Are Dope podcast, and so are you. I appreciate you guys. Y'all are awesome. Stay sweet. Never stop collecting. Later.